Happy Monday, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Pageant Sit Down. I'm your host, Regina Lena, and I am so happy for all of you to be here today. I hope you're staying safe and had a wonderful weekend. I know here in Ontario it's a little crazy, but hope you're staying sane. I'm really excited for all of you to join me today because I have a very special guest. Yes, as you can see from the title, it is another Galaxy sister, and I am so excited for all of you to meet her. I just met her 5 minutes ago, and she's already so amazing. So please welcome to the Pageant Sit Down, Ms. Galaxy Illinois 2020-21, Carla Ann Vander Loop. Hi, Carla.
Hello. Thank you for having me on tonight. I truly appreciate it.
You're so welcome. Thank you for joining me. I love that our backgrounds are very similar in aesthetic.
Good taste. I appreciate that.
Love it. So, Carla, for all of those who don't know you, do you mind telling us a little bit about yourself?
Certainly. Actually, I am soon to be 51 years old. I am the owner and operator of CA Image Consulting. I deal and mentor young women and women, as well as I was an avid dancer. You'll learn a little bit more about that later. And grew up in a small town in Wisconsin on a farm. No one believes me when I tell them that. Moved on to Green Bay, coached the Green Bay Packer cheerleaders, headed off to Milwaukee, all the while been mentoring young women, working in the fashion industry, and then ended up here, in the Chicagoland area, where I am now mentoring young women full-time, believe it or not, and newly engaged.
Amazing. Well, first off, congratulations on your engagement.
Thank you.
I love that you were able to get engaged even in the pandemic. Love is not canceled, ladies and gentlemen. So that's amazing. So Carla, fun fact that you told me, and I want to talk a little bit about this. Galaxy is your first pageant that you are going to be competing in. How excited are you?
Over the moon excited. This girl, as I said, is going to be 51 years old at the end of May. As I said, I mentor young women. I've been doing so for the past 17 years. But I've never actually stepped into that realm. So whether I was coaching cheerleading or dance, having my own program, taking on other challenges in life that led me to, say, the stage, it was never the stage of pageantry. Part of the reason I really wanted to do this was because, quite frankly, I am about setting goals and challenges for myself. What better way to inspire individuals and share my own personal story, and of course, the importance of mentorship to others than by, putting my feet in the water and going full force.
Amazing. So you typically coach these girls and mentor them. Do you have yourself a pageant coach?
Well, I have many mentors. So I've been working with some women in the industry, but I love getting a little bit of a variety from all. Quite frankly, I feel we can learn from everyone. So yeah, I am getting a little bit of assistance here and there, and you'll learn even later on in some of my tips some interesting things that I've been doing to prepare as well.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. I'm looking forward to it. So what would you say is the one thing, or maybe two things, that you are looking most forward to the Galaxy International pageant?
Yeah. Well, that challenge. The biggest thing, that challenge, that moment when I can sit in the interview room or stand in the interview room and address the judges, speak passionately about what is important to me, who I am at the core, what I offer, the program itself. And then secondly, honestly, meeting women from all around the world. I have not traveled out of the country. I have never traveled out of the US, believe it or not.
Ever?
No, I know. I don't know how to swim either. So even though I lived by a lake nearly my entire life, but there are certain things about me that are a little off on that. I get it. But I'm telling you, I'm so excited to be able to meet women from across the world. I love people. You mentioned it earlier when we were talking before. You're an extrovert. And in some way, I am as well. And I love just getting to meet people, tapping into who they are, learning about their journey, what makes them tick, how they got from point A to B, why they're obviously going to be competing at Galaxy as well.
Awesome. Well, I'm really excited to meet you in person as well. And it's so crazy how diverse of a group we have in our division. So for those who are not sure, yes, Carla and I are in the same division. Sometimes people get thrown off when I say Miss and Ms., so I just have to clarify. But I'm so excited to meet you in person. I've been following you on social media for a bit now, and what you put out there is just so impactful. So, Carla, what would you say is your platform?
My platform, honestly, is mentorship. Mentorship matters. It truly does. I've been through some difficult times in my life, moments and events in my life that I would never wish upon anyone. And on that note, I found my way of getting through it through those that helped me, my mentors. It could have been my family. Mentorship and a mentor means different things to different people. But to me, my faith, my family, my friends helped me get through a lot in my life, and honestly shaped me. Those experiences and the mentorship, it helped me to become the individual I am today, and that person that truly wants to continually challenge herself and step outside her comfort zone.
Amazing. And talking about stepping outside of your comfort zone, you mentioned you were a dancer, or you used to be a dancer. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh my goodness. I had my own all-star program. I taught young girls from, oh gosh, little ones, 5 years old, all the way up to 18 or 19 years old. My daughter, who is now 20, she was a competitive dancer her entire life as well. So it was really in the family. My son, who's 25, he also danced and was in sports. So the arts and dance was a huge part of my life. I also kind of meandered into coaching cheer, and that led me to coaching the Green Bay Packers cheerleaders. So I was able to go to Super Bowl and experience all the fun and fanfare with the Green Bay Packers. So, it was a beautiful journey. I am no longer dancing. A couple years ago, I took part in a wonderful fundraiser for the American Red Cross, which is near and dear to my heart because, as I mentioned to you personally about my daughter's accident, which of course I can share more on later, but dancing is a huge part of me, and quite frankly, it's a release. It lets a person be who they are and just decompress, de-stress, and rejuvenate. So I loved my time dancing. I wish I could do more of it now, but I had my time. Now my daughter is the one who instructs, so it's carried on in the family. Let's put it that way.
That's awesome. So your daughter's now taking over dance. Do you see your daughter maybe tiptoeing her way onto the pageant stage as well?
She actually is very seasoned in pageantry. She's won many titles, yes, with many organizations. Currently, she holds a title with another organization. Will be heading to nationals in July, I believe, over the 4th of July in Orlando. But I should say, learn together and mentor her, but at the same time, she is an absolute inspiration to me as well.
That's amazing. Well, we should connect with your daughter after this and have her on the show. I would love to hear her journey in pageantry as well. That's amazing that you two have this amazing mother-daughter duo. I know earlier you mentioned Dancing for Our Stars. Is this something that was an annual event, or was it just a one-time thing?
No, the season or the fundraising was every year. So every year there was a different show with different members, and they were usually celebrity members in the local area. And at the time I was living in the Green Bay area. I became a part of Dancing with Our Stars because, as I mentioned earlier, my daughter's accident. Many people know just because of my own personal journey, but sharing it with you, about 6 years ago, she was on her way to dance lessons at her studio that she was taking at the time and was involved in a traumatic auto accident. A lot of details rest beneath that, but long story short, when she made her way to the ER and they brought her in by helicopter, she flatlined twice. She received 33 blood transfusions in 7 days, had multiple injuries. She has a plate in her pelvis, plate in her arm, I think a plate in her thigh, screws in her hip, and she is now still dancing. 7 months after that accident, she had 7 months of rehab, and competed for the outstanding teen title for Wisconsin. It was her final year competing, and
Oh.
it was a tough journey because, as life is, and as an accident took a bit of a toll on her. Her worry and her concern was the fact I'm not the same strong powerhouse dancer I was. And for her, it really was about finding herself too, refinding herself, and having to understand that it's okay not to be a powerhouse dancer. And in turn, I would say she is now a more passionate, feeling dancer, and has carried on. She's graduated now from the University of Madison in the major of community nonprofit leadership. She has her own platform, which is called Pages of Life, Live It Fully Every Day being the acronym. But we all in our family, because we went through such interesting things and challenging moments together, we truly do believe in together, staying together. Family is everything, and living life fully every day, because we, as I mentioned, we're only here one time, and we have to make the best of it, and we have to do our best to inspire others.
That's amazing. Well, as a mom, I can only imagine what that was like for you to see your daughter, but to also see your daughter flourish afterwards and become stronger at it. To hear that she's taken over dance and she's still dancing, she's also competing in pageants. She definitely has a story to tell, so I definitely want to get her on this show. So ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. We will have her here.
I can hook you up, yes.
I love it. But we're here to talk about you, Carla, and your journey in pageantry. So as a coach versus getting ready yourself for a pageant, have you seen a difference in how you are preparing yourself versus how you would prepare your students?
No difference. No difference. I live and breathe what I preach, so to speak. And this is part of the reason I'm doing it. I'm showing that, yes, if you go ahead and you go through that work, you plan accordingly, you can get through, you can achieve, and you can attain greatness. So I'm content with where I'm at. I'm happy. Do I get a little nervous? I think that's human nature, but it's going to be more of the excited type of anxiety as opposed to nervousness. I'm looking forward to it. I know you are as well, but I'm excited. I can't wait for that day to come.
I'm excited to see you take your first steps on that stage, knowing that this is your first pageant. I'm so excited for you to just see how the experience goes and just see how well you do. There's actually a few people here in the chat. So Elizabeth Marnock, Miss Teen Galaxy Canada 2019 is here. She says, "Hey Galaxy girls." Sarah Edmonds, so she is a finalist for Canada Galaxy, also in the Ms. Division, representing Sudbury. She says, "Hello, ladies." Yeah. And it looks like you have a fan here. So Leah's Cool Vlog says, "Hello, Carla. You look beautiful."
Thank you. I appreciate that. I truly do. I truly do. Thank you. It took a while for me in my younger years to just say thank you and be appreciative when someone gave me a compliment or paid me a compliment. So I am learning. Thank you very much.
Amazing. Well, actually, speaking of compliments, so I do this thing on my Instagram where I ask people if they have any questions for my guest. And we didn't get a question, but we got a compliment for you. Janice McGregor, who was actually my guest here last week, she says, not really a question, but she really rocks the red lipstick.
You have to have the right shade, honey. You have to have the right shade of red.
100%. And I love that red lips kind of make anyone's teeth look whiter than they actually are. If it's the right red for them, of course.
Very true.
I love it. So I know your hair is short, like a pixie cut. Has your hair always been short? I love it. I love your hair.
For the most part. I mean, this is diverting a little bit from pageantry, but
sorry.
Again, in a small town, and my mother, who still has long hair to this day, my sister and I had long hair because she wanted us to. And a funny story behind that, myself being I would say I just was more of an exploring type of individual. I went and I just cut it, and she wasn't exactly very happy with me, but I know I'm that person who is always going to challenge. I'm going to tell you, but the great part is, We're all good. Years later. Uh, Funny thing though, yes, I've had short hair for a while. You talked about being transparent. I am going to be transparent. I have a thyroid condition. When I tell people that, they say, "Oh my goodness, you must be hyperthyroid." No, I am hypothyroid. And I think the assumption immediately with someone who is hypo as opposed to hyper is that perhaps hypo, we would be a little more voluptuous, and the hyper a little more, lanky and trim or whatnot. So no, I'm hypo, but I'm also very conscious of my diet and my exercise, because I know with my own family history, it's not a great one. So I lost a brother to brain cancer about 4 years ago, right at the same time that my daughter was in her accident, and my son was diagnosed with lymphoma. My father passed away of ALS. So clearly there's a history there, and I truly want to be there, and anything I can do for myself to maintain the best health that I know, I'm going to do it. But because of the thyroid condition, long story short, my hair is thin, my nails are brittle, my skin is dry. You see this, but there's a lot of other stuff going on. And as we are, as humans, we deal with it. And I do, I'm on medication for it. And, but I love my short hair because A, it doesn't take very long. Yeah. B, it's a cut that I can actually do multiple styles with, and I do like that. So it still gives me the creativity that I love, being someone that is a creative, and essentially, less work. So.
No, I love it. I love the short hair, like, because she mentioned the red lips, so it brought me back to that picture, and I just love how your hair was styled. But what I love about short hair and you being creative is it gives you that edge that some people may not have the ability to do, and I think you pull it off great.
Thank you.
Actually, we have a question here. Leah's Cool Vlogs actually says, "I am one of her queens. She is my mentor." So this is Leah Rios.
Leah. Hi, Leah.
Sorry. So yes. She asks, So she says, "Ask Carla how she manages not having favorites within us as our coach."
Leah, that is such a great question. I've never been one to play favorites. Honestly, because of my years teaching dance, honestly, Leah, I had over, I'd say 70 dancers at one point, just on like 2 or 3 teams. And what I do enjoy is I enjoy getting to know every single girl, their family, the backgrounds behind them. There is something beautiful that we all can learn from one another. So for instance, Miss Leah, I hope you don't mind that I'm pointing this out. I know about your family. Miss Leah comes from a background of 6 generations of circus performers, if you can believe that. Wow. And mom is from, I think, originally from Puerto Rico, and dad is from Mexico, and they now reside in Wisconsin. But Leah came to me, I would say mid-summer before her pageant, and we have embarked upon this beautiful journey together. But there is no favorites. There never will be, because every individual is unique in their own way and brings something incredibly special to what I call the family.
I love that. That's such a great answer. And thank you for asking the question. So for all of you who are tuning in, if you have questions for Carla related to Galaxy, coaching, dancing, whatever it might be, make sure you leave them in the live chats below. She says, "Yes, I love you." So she's listening.
Oh, I love you too, Lena.
Awesome. So now that your students are here and we talked a little bit about your tips, I do want to ask you, Carla, what would be your 5 tips or 6 or 7, whatever you want, for any pageant hopeful?
Okay, excellent. First and foremost, I know so many people talk about being authenticity, being your true self. The interesting part, though, as a mentor, so many young women, when I start working with them on their journey, they struggle to answer questions because they're fearful of whether or not in their minds it's the right answer or the wrong answer, when in reality there is no right or wrong answer. Because if you can express your opinions on things in an articulate way, and perhaps you've educated me or enlightened me, you will always receive a higher score. The girls that want to sit on the fence, so I'm going to just put it out there, get off the fence. Ladies, girls, teens, get off the fence, start owning everything you say. Say what you mean what you say. The girls I work with, they hear that phrase all the time. Say what you mean what you say, own it. To me, that's authenticity. Stop worrying about what other people are going to think about your opinion. If I'm sitting in the interview chair or I'm interviewing and a girl can share her opinions with me in a real informative and educational way, I may not agree with you, but that doesn't matter because I respect you. And for that, you're probably going to score higher because I respect that you took a stance and you have an opinion on it. So yes, authenticity is paramount. Find yourself and own who you are. Two, I would say, everyone says be prepared. Absolutely, 100% prepared. I'll say 200% prepared. Again, the one thing I notice is that young women, it's exciting, I get it. I'm a wardrobe consultant. Finding the perfect wardrobe is fun. So we oftentimes spend a lot of time doing that because it's fun. Prepping for interview isn't necessarily in many young girls' opinions fun because it's intimidating, it can be scary, and there's a journey involved in it. But that's the area that I wish more women and teens and young girls would put more effort in. So instead of turning away opportunities to get in some extra interview prep, grasp a hold of it. Take those opportunities when it's presented because that's going to help you be 200% prepared. You've got to make sure that every area is covered. And when in a pageant, so much of the percentage of your score is going to be in interview. I've always said it's one in interview. You can put a pretty dress on anyone. You really can. We can all have somebody do us up and make us look beautiful, but you don't know what's happening in that interview room. And we've all been there where you have said maybe, I didn't see that one coming. But you weren't sitting in the interview room and that young lady may have completely just captured the judge's attention. So it really didn't matter that she didn't have the most expensive dress on because I don't think you need it. But she had that it factor and there was something that was a real connective, area with them. So they go with it. So practice, long story short, get in that interview room, practice your interview, know yourself wholeheartedly, and you'll be good to go. Study videos would be my third. I'm a firm believer no one likes to watch themselves or hear their voice on audio. I don't. I'm like everybody else. I don't like to watch myself, but I also know it's the truest form of learning. So if I'm going to have myself videotaped, I'm going to find out right away if I have any bad habits, if I need to make corrections on how my voice is coming out. I should maybe deepen it a little bit, make it a little richer. Girls, oftentimes they rise in their voice like this instead of landing the plane and making that statement firm. So study those videos. Most recently I did a fashion show, and ironically it was with my daughter, and we sat giggling after because someone had videotaped the two of us on the final run, and they did the mother-daughter run. And I was watching the video and I thought to myself, I got an issue with that left arm. It's swinging. My left arm is swinging. I need to fix that. And then I'm noticing my daughter has the same issue. And so we started giggling. But I also was noticing how wonderful her walk was from the knee to the toe. That's that young dancer in her. This one's not so young, but I'm learning even from the video of watching her that I'm like, oh, I just need to work on extending that limb a little more. So long story short, even the littlest of things of studying those videos, it's going to help you and it's going to serve a wealth of help in your journey. Fourth, embracing the moment. Hey, take as many pictures as you want, do as many selfies as you want. Get to know the people. When I say embrace the moment, enjoy the journey, all of it. Get to know the girls you're competing with. Take in every event, every opportunity to network, make a new friend. You have no idea where those friendships and those connections are going to lead you. I feel my entire life has been based off of those moments, those experiences that I've embarked upon, and I've made incredible friendships through it. And again, I said it before, I'll say it again, I'm going to be 51 years old. Yes, I do want pictures to document and I can show this to my well, eventually grandchildren, and say, yes, grandma did this. So, there's so many reasons to embrace that journey. You get one opportunity, one life. I've said it before, make the best of it. And 5, this is a big one. I believe a lot of girls, they're not even sure when they get into a pageant or when they sign up what their purpose is, what their passion is. Have a purpose, have a passion, know what you offer that organization before you even sign on to do it. When you have to know where you're going to go, because that organization is, quite frankly, looking for someone who is not only going to help them stay relevant, so to speak, but also, help them become more relevant. And on top of that, being able to promote your own platform. It's honestly, you've got to know what that organization is looking for. You have to know who you are. And I do believe those questions like, what makes you unique? Why should we pick you? What sets you apart? What do you have to offer this organization? It's a question for a lot of girls because they haven't thought about it. So those are my 5.
And those are some amazing 5 tips. So Carla, if people wanted to get mentored by you or want to know more about your journey, where can they follow you on social media?
Yeah, well, I have a personal page on Facebook. It's under my name, Carla Ann Vander Loop. You can also look under CA Image Consulting on Instagram or Facebook. They can message me there. I've got a website, caimageconsulting.com. You can find out everything, all of the great areas that I cover, and see pictures, those that I've worked with, my mission statement. And, I'll be honest, not everyone is suited for the same coach. I love getting clients, but quite frankly, I don't take everyone because I want that individual to truly know that I'm the right fit in mentorship for their journey. And I say that, a journey. It's not a flash in the pan, overnight type of thing. This is a commitment that one makes in the journey ahead. And sometimes that fit is just not going to be right. It doesn't mean you like the person or think they're great. You just know that maybe the mindsets are not, it's not the same parallel on what you're looking for. So, but you can find me on those areas and I'd be more than happy to talk and, go from there.
Awesome. So for those who are interested, I did put the link to her Instagram down below and her website. I did not put CA Image, but I will after the show. So if you're watching afterwards, it should be there. If not, find her on Instagram, on her personal one, but I will have it there, I promise. So Carla, you mentioned in your tips, get to know the girls you are competing with. And that is why you're here today. This is why I know a lot of people are like, why is there so many Galaxy girls? Well, I want to know them all. I want to know who I'm meeting in person in August. So I think that's an amazing tip. You have definitely shared a lot of amazing stuff, and I can only imagine what your students learn from you, and it's exciting just to have you on the show and for people to listen to your tidbits. I was going to ask you something, but it just slipped in my mind. Oh, question. Now that I remember, it came back so fast.
Okay.
So this is your first pageant, but you're not new to the pageant world. What made you choose to compete in Galaxy?
I love the fact, again, I'm going back to the more international level. If I'm going to challenge myself, I'm usually going to do it in a pretty big way. I think it's my nature. When I signed up for Dancing with Our Stars, it was the same type of thing, a whole style of dance I was not familiar with, and putting myself out there, fundraising, organizing events, etc. Same applies here. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it in a big way. I want to challenge myself. I know I've got the goods. I just need to refine. I know I have what it takes. I have a wonderful platform, and I know what I offer individuals as far as mentorship is of value to everyone, whether they're younger or even my age. When I receive a message, and I did this weekend, ironically, I received 3 messages just commenting about, I love your content. And I don't strategically think about what I'm putting out there. It really is who I am. I'm just generally, I try to be and live my life as happy as possible. And I love helping people. And I know one of my, I think one of my posts on Facebook recently was, don't let something negative or a certain experience that you've had really taint you and hinder you from helping others. it's one of those things where not every experience is always going to be such a happy one with every person you encounter, but you can't let moments like that allow you to step back and not continue to aid and assist others. I feel I was honestly born to do that. It's who I am. I love people and I love helping them. And there's no greater joy than seeing a woman slowly build that confidence and break down those walls that were so terrifying to her initially.
100%. And it's great to see that you are making this transition into the pageant world. And I know that the US, there are definitely a lot more pageants for women who are either married or over 28. Do you see yourself doing Mrs. USA one year or Mrs. Universe?
Oh, that's a funny question. I appreciate that question. I'm so focused on Galaxy right now. I really have not even thought about that because my wholehearted preparation and purpose is for this organization and what I bring towards that organization and what I can help with, help within that organization and build. And as I said earlier, how to keep it relevant or build that organization in itself. So I really haven't thought about it. I appreciate you asking, but as you said, you've kind of put a halt on things too in certain areas because this is your goal. And like you, that is my goal as well.
Amazing. I was just curious because, sometimes pageant girls, most of the times, they catch the pageant bug. This is your first pageant, so maybe after Galaxy, I'll ask you, so what's the next one?
We shall see. I've spoken about this with my fiance because, of course, as you know as well from your own experience, being engaged, I'm a miss, so, I'm not married. And depending on how things happen or how it all plays out at the pageant, I may be still engaged for a bit more time, and that's okay because my fiance and I have that mindset that what is God's will and what is meant to be will be meant to be, and we are in it for the long haul. So my journey is with Galaxy, and we'll see how that plays out.
Amazing. Well, there is a Mrs. Galaxy, so you never know.
Yes.
You never know.
I love that.
Well, it's great that you got engaged over the pandemic, and I again congratulate you. Have you started planning your wedding, or is it still?
Kind of, but not really. Again, it goes back to the whole focus is Galaxy. We're both incredibly busy. Myself just mentoring and preparing for Galaxy. I was engaged back on Thanksgiving in Orlando, and my ring is still, it still has a little sizer on it.
Oh, I love it.
I haven't had a chance to get it fitted yet because we want to go together, and sometimes it's just really hard to coordinate. So on that note, we have ideas of what we want to do down the line, but we haven't really put any, we haven't pushed the ball forward yet. We know it'll happen. It's just when it happens, will be God's timing.
Amazing. Well, I'm excited. I'm sure you'll make a beautiful bride. And I only asked because, again, we're on this. I feel like we're on the same boat with a lot of things. What's going on here?
I know,
we have the same background, same love life background. Like, what's going on? I love it. I love it.
Things are meant to be. It was just meant to be.
100%. I'm so excited for you. And I'm excited to see what happens with your journey in Galaxy.
Nice.
A lot of women, I know a lot of my friends are like, oh, why do you have all of your competition? I'm like, they're not my competition.
Right.
You are your biggest competition. These are just girls that you're going to be with for the week. And you're both on the same journey. So I'm really excited to see what happens and to meet you.
Likewise. This is going to be a great journey for everyone. And especially because we've all gone through the pandemic, the quarantine, and have had to think a little bit outside the box on things to continue to represent our titles.
100%. And you mentioned the pandemic. How has it been for you going from in-person, not pageants, in-person to now virtual? And I know Illinois, you guys are starting to open up again. How has this pandemic been for you and your pageant so far?
That's a fascinating question. I had mentioned earlier that I moved to Illinois, I would say about 3 weeks before all of the closures happened. I gave up my job in fashion in Milwaukee. That was, a wonderful job, and came to Illinois. And this is going to sound crazy, but for the man that I love. Not something I would typically do ever. It's not who I am, but this one's pretty stinking special. So I gave up that job, moved down here, took a job a career managing a gym, believe it or not, because I needed a job. And, you can't just move without, and of course it was a great fit because I had taught dance and health and wellness and fitness. However, COVID did shut down some things, and you had expressed how that all panned out in your world too. I was let go immediately. I was the manager for a week and a half, 2 weeks, and of course now I learned closing procedures, and I was let go immediately. So wow. On that journey, it was in the middle of winter, and I kept thinking, what am I going to do? I'm still coaching girls part-time, but what am I going to do? I'm so used to having a full-time job and challenging and thriving, and it really shut everything down. And as I was on one of my many walks with my fiance in the cold and the rain and the sleet, literally for about an hour and a half every day, because that was our haven and our peace, believe it or not, he said to me one day, what do you want to do? And I said, I think you know what I want to do. I want to coach full-time. I want to mentor full-time. I want to build this business. I've wanted to do it for years. He said, well, let's make that happen.
Oh.
Interestingly enough, he owns his own IT company. So the areas that I am not good at, which would be computers and IT, of course, he's got it on that end, and helped me really build that website. And from there, I could do what I do best. Wonderful partnership. And during the pandemic, I actually, oddly enough, started to truly build clientele, because in the world of pageantry, yes, those pageants were postponed, not canceled necessarily, just postponed. So we still proceeded as usual. We still went ahead with our, our prep, and I slowly built the clientele base, and it continues to soar. And yes, we are opening up. You were saying tightening down, obviously, where you are. But I've been lucky enough where I've been able to get out a little bit, especially recently, and do a little bit of traveling, and continue to build my brand.
That's amazing. So how many girls do you currently have in your mentorship right now?
That's actually a great question. I don't have a lot. I don't take on many, and there's a reason for that. It's because of the fact that I truly guide them through their wardrobe. I will either be sketching items, connecting with designers. I have a couple overseas that I'm working with. I connected with one in a neighboring state just no more than a week ago, and she made an epic gown for me in like 4 days that I wore this past weekend at a photo shoot. Crazy, I know. But I also work with girls on their speeches. So if they are needing a platform statement, a social initiative, I'm going to help them hone that. If they need an introduction, I'm going to help them do that. Their walk, I'm going to help them with their walk. Of course, interview prep, honing that, I'm going to help them do that. But I love the fact that I've got all those areas covered. And fortunately for me too, with my daughter in the mix and someone who is now, of course, teaching dance, I can help a little bit in the dance realm too with choreography. I can, but again, I haven't been in it for a bit, so she is the young version, so to speak, of me. And she covers those areas. So it's kind of like a one-stop shop. To answer your question, I'd say about 30 girls, but we deal with so much that it's very time-consuming. And that's why when Miss Leia was asking her question, I could tell you everything about Miss Leia. I know everything about that family. I know everything about all my families because they're my family. And I prefer to keep a shorter of clients, give them everything. So they know that it really is like a one-stop shop.
Well, I love how you said not a lot, and you're like, yeah, just 30.
Actually, I think just a lot of coaches, a lot of mentors, they have way more than myself, and I know that. But the funny thing is, I'm so content. I'm very happy where I am. I know my workload. I know what I can do, and I will never be the individual to take on so much and not be able to deliver for my clients. That would hurt my soul. There's no way I could myself if I were doing that. So I'd rather keep it tailored and down to what they need, be able to give each of them my undivided attention.
That's amazing. Well, Leia actually says, if you need a pageant coach, she is the best.
Thank you, Leia. You are a doll.
Love it. And actually, the Costi girls are tuning in so that here in Canada, Little Miss and our Miss Preteen Galaxy Canada, their sisters, pretty sure it's their mom watching. Janice says, evening, ladies. So it looks like we got a lot of Galaxy girls here in the mix this evening.
That's great. Well, we will all be able to meet one another very soon.
Yes, 100%. And again, if you guys are just tuning in and if you have any questions for Carla, make sure you leave them in the comments and I'll be sure to ask her. So Carla, what is the one thing that you, or segment in Galaxy that you are most looking forward to?
Interview, but I think I mentioned that earlier, interview, because there is so much I love to share, my journey, etc. But outside of that, I am fascinated, intrigued by swimsuit because of my age. I'm not one to walk around on stage in a swimsuit. It's not really me, I've never done that before, but for me, I'm pretty comfortable in my skin. I'm not going to say pretty comfortable. I'm comfortable in my skin, so I'm not going to have a problem with it. It will be more excitement for me. I'm excited for that opportunity because, again, it's going to be something on that list. Say check mark. I did that,
Exactly.
and it's going to make me very happy. I'm going to be very proud of myself, and it may sound silly to others, but I'll feel very accomplished because I know it takes a lot for anyone to get up on stage in a swimsuit or behind those doors and talk to a panel of judges. Those aren't things that come easy for most people, and I'm happy I'm going to be able to continually do one of these the week of Galaxy. Check, check, and check.
Awesome. I thought you were going to say maybe fashion or evening gown because the fashionista in you, I'm so intrigued to what you're going to wear and I'm just very excited. I feel like few fashionista in our division, yourself and Miss Galaxy UK. I'm pretty sure Miss Galaxy Europe is as well. I kind of feel like I need to catch up and figure out my fashion, but
everyone does their thing. If you are comfortable in your skin, you wear what represents you and it's going to glow. You know that. I know that. For me, I'm kind of a chameleon, honestly. To be absolutely honest, if I could live my life every day in a little maxi dress barefoot, I know you wouldn't guess, right? In and running around as a child, barefoot and playing. That's true me, but I also was the child who took my Barbies and would cut hair off and create clothing and garments and tie little things around their neck. I was never allowed to have a brand new Barbie doll because I'd always cut their hair.
I think I've done that to one of my dolls and my mom's like, why'd you do that? It's not going to grow back. I didn't know.
Because you're a fashionista too. It's the creative side in us.
100%. Well, actually, Janice, so the Costi sisters' mom, she is the one watching. I knew it. She says, you may have asked her this earlier, but I love her short hair and the confidence it takes to rock it. Does she think it's an advantage or a disadvantage to have short hair, or maybe there's no difference at all?
I really don't think there is. I don't think it's a difference. I believe initially it probably does draw attention. It is true. I can go places. I can sit at a restaurant, and if I go there a second time, they usually remember who I am. Sometimes they'll even know what I ordered, which is kind of creepy. I know. But I want to think it's not necessarily my hair, that it's my personality and how I present myself. So on that note, I don't think there's a difference. It's really about who you are, how you present yourself, and how your confidence. She just said it. You have to own what you wear. You have to own what you look like, what you choose, to do. And I truly do. I'm me, and I'm absolutely content, more than content with who I am.
I love it. I'm actually trying to get Janice to compete in a pageant, but try to get her on Galaxy. Janice, calling you out again. Come join the Galaxy sisters. You already gave us 2 of them. You should be one of them as well. So I do want to ask you about Dancing with the Stars a little bit more, because I know it was very near and dear to your heart, and you are a dancer. I know in your fun facts that you gave me, you talked about a dance performance that you did. So what kind of dance do you do? Do you do more ballroom style dance? Do you do more freestyle?
Well, interestingly enough, my dance background was more in jazz, ballet, lyrical, contemporary. It was not in ballroom. So Dancing with the Stars, as we know, the show, was really about ballroom styles of dance. And that's something that was very unfamiliar to me. So on that note, I had the option of selecting the type of dance I wanted to do, the style. And because at that time in my life I had gone through and it was just really coming out of, obviously, my son's, he's and let me just rephrase because I didn't mention that before. He is very well and he's thriving in Chicago, and that was years ago. And my daughter, of course, is thriving as well. But at that point, there just was a lot that we were going through. And so much of the time we can be caught in the sadness or the emotion. Trust me, I had a lot of that during that time. So when I was asked to be a part of the show by the previous winner of that particular segment, who was my client at the time, I said yes immediately. And I wanted to do something happy. I wanted to do something happy and fun and exciting and a little saucy and sassy, not, sad. And my partner said, you really should do something inspirational, and went through so much. I want to break free of all of that. I don't want to talk about it all the time, if that makes any sense. I know it's there. We all know it's there, but this is about empowerment. This is about living life and being happy. So I chose a samba. So, and it was all hips. And I was having major issues with my hips at the time. But what did I pick? I picked the one, of course, I'm going to have to use my hips. Well, that journey in itself was interesting because there was a lot of fundraising involved in. So the individual who actually takes home that mirror ball is really the individual who raises the most money. It's not necessarily, your dance ability, so to speak. But it was a great journey because we all connected, and much like pageantry, it's very similar to that because we all were preparing our dances all to perform on a particular night. And that night, it was probably one of the most special moments of my entire life because the day we were sequestered, so to speak, we did one run through in the ballroom, and the ballroom was revamped into this amazing, magical area. And I remember standing and watching and looking through the doorway thinking, wow, I can't believe my life has led me here, and my family, my friends, some of the past dancers that I taught, just a plethora of individuals were coming to support me and watch me, including my daughter, that's who I did this for. With the 33 blood transfusions, it's a no-brainer. When the American Red Cross comes to you and asks you to do something, you do it, and she's here today because of the American Red Cross. But long story short, when I hear my son, as I'm walking out there hand in hand with my dance partner, and he's on a chair in the back room saying, "That's my mom." I'm telling you, there's no greater feeling than that. But the journey itself was fantastic, and I was very proud and honestly very humbled to be asked to be a part of the show. And the samba was awesome. I did Beyonce, Run the World.
Love it. I love that. So when you mentioned the show, because you mentioned the show and then you mentioned the event, was it similar where you all dance one at a time? They give you your score, the next group goes, or was it more like a typical or classic ballroom competition where all the couples are on the dance floor?
No classic. It was just like the show. We even had, I'm blanking, so I feel awful right now. I should know this, but the two that are actually on the show, they brought the real show, were brought in, so they were part of the judges as well. The following year, the year after because there was an anniversary year for them. But yes, it was ran just like it. The judges were on a high stage, and I had to look up after and get my critiques and hear all of the positives. And in general, they were all positive. They were very kind to everyone because it's charitable. It's a charity event. And but it was a charity event that lasted in my world From the moment I set my sights on wanting to be on the show, I would say about 12 to 14 months. I went to the show the year before with intent to meet one of the actual instructors and support my client. And ultimately, I ended up on the show. So it's one of those things, again, when I talk about mentorship, if you want to go after something, go after it, but commit to it as well. And, I say yes to things oftentimes, and I sit back and I go, okay, I might have said yes a little too quickly. But then I sit back and I realize, that's who I am. This is who I am. I love the journey. Again, I embrace the challenge and setting goals for myself and being able to share my own story. We need more people in the world who are delivering smiles and kindness, who are mentoring others, especially now in this day and age. So many people could use an extra smile, a little bit more kindness, and they could use a mentor.
100%. So I feel like this hour flew by. We are getting towards the end of our show, Carla, but is there anything that you would like to say to our viewers or to talk about?
Yeah. Summing it all up, I'm gauging most of our viewers tonight are pageant contestants. So again, go back in those 5 tips that I gave before, and the most important one is, again, be yourself. Bring your passion, platform, to that pageant. Sit back and take stock of who you are. Who are you? Why are you here? And what do you offer that sets yourself apart from everyone else? And finally, enjoy the journey. Embrace the moment. One life, one opportunity. Make it a good one.
That note, I think it's a good place to end our show today. So, Carla, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and being here today. I love the crowd. Thank you for being here today. No worries. It honestly was great having you here and getting to you virtually like this and hearing your story in more depth. So thank you again for being here. One last time, where can people follow you on social media?
Well, again, Facebook page and Instagram. I have a personal page as well as a business page. Instagram and Facebook, CA Image Consulting. And you can find me there under my my name, Carla Vander Loop, Carla Ann Vander Loop. You'll find me there, and we can connect. So let's meet. Let's meet. Whether you're looking at pageants or just looking to meet. As I said, I get a lot of people who just reach out and like to comment. And as we both are a little bit extroverted, I embrace that and I enjoy it. So don't be shy.
Amazing. So again, thank you, Carla, for joining me this evening and just for sharing your story with us. Like you said, you are very authentic and I loved getting to know you. And I'm looking forward to getting to know you even more in August and on our way to August. So again, thank you so much for being here. And to all of you who tuned in, thank you so much for joining us on this Monday evening. If you watched it later on, thank you for spending your time with us today. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. And if you like more content like this, make sure you subscribe. I do go live every Monday and Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And this Wednesday, we actually have a guest all the way from Portugal. So make sure you all tune in. Again, Carla, thank you for being here with us. To everyone who tuned in, thank you. And I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Bye.